Martin!
Adam, good to see you.
How's it going, dude?
Good. Maybe the background's a little more stable. Nice. Oh, you should look like you're on vacation having a great time.
Yeah. Hi, Martin. Hi, Adam.
How's it going, dude?
Good. How are you guys doing? Seeing you guys out of so long.
I
was
know,
just gonna
right?
say, it's so nice to see you, even if it's virtually.
Yeah. I'm gonna change my background.
Cool.
I like, now we've gone from Star Wars to Star Trek. Nice.
Yeah. Got to switch it up a little bit. So I've got, I downloaded the, oh.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, Ishan's got some background variation here, throwing us cars left and right.
Yeah. Well,
I saw this was attached in the email, so I thought I'll use this background.
It's like the professional official one for the Changemaker and Residency Week. Yeah.
And it's got great stability in your end.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations to you, Martin, for putting all of this together for the HomeShare.
Everybody. No, not me.
Everybody as well.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, or it's not morning anymore, it's afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Cool. Well, everybody, welcome to HomeShare. You're probably wondering, why did I register for this session? What is this all about? That's an excellent question, and hopefully we'll answer a lot of that for you this morning. My name is Nicole Norris. I'm the manager of the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation. We're going to get this party started very shortly. We'll just make sure everybody's in, and I'm going to start sharing my PowerPoint screen, and I'm going to hand it over very, very shortly. As soon as I share. It's great. And everybody's good. So we've got some really amazing guests for you this morning. Adam, I can't see the PowerPoint screen or the chat, so
you're good. You are good.
You're good. I'm good. All right. So welcome everybody. We're going to talk to you today about Barrie HomeShare. This is a project where we're working with the city of Barrie, and we got some a really cool story here to show you today. But this is an opportunity we're bringing in the city of Barrie. We're gonna have a little discussion a little later on, but first I'm going to pass this over to Susie Addison-Tour, our director of the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation at Georgian College, and she's going to start us off for the day. Susie, over to you.
Hi, folks. So good afternoon. Again, my name is Susie Addison-Tour, and I'm the Director of Social Innovation and Student Success at Georgian College. And I'm so glad that you've decided to join us today for the launch of HomeShare during our first ever Changemaker and Residency Week at Georgian College. I am joined today by my team, Nicole Norris, the manager of our Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation, and Martin Rochon, our Social Innovation Projects Coordinator. So back in January 2020, Georgian's Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation entered into a partnership with Barrie's Office of the Mayor to tackle social innovation, access to healthy food, and affordable housing for both seniors and students. Currently, supported by funding from our Simcoe Muskoka United Way, the Barrie HomeShare project, like many other initiatives, has had to respond to its vision within the context of COVID-19 and innovate. Today's session will tell our story about how we adapted and transformed Barrie HomeShare to now offer students co-curricular volunteer opportunities designed to assist seniors in safe and meaningful ways. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our partners that are here on the call today. And in particular, would like to welcome our key collaborator on this project, Lauren Wild, Special Projects Coordinator at the Mayor's Office. Thank you as well to David Caldwell, a Barrie CARP member who is instrumental in connecting with our 55+ community members in the City of Barrie community. David will be participating in our panel discussion today. And finally, a really warm welcome to all of our Georgian students that are here participating on the call. We're excited to have you here as HomeShare truly is a student-driven social innovation. Students, I hope this inspires you to see how your major projects, your capstone projects, the work that you're doing in curriculum can be used to help solve social issues in our community. And I'd like to pass this over to Martin and Nicole, who will walk us through our innovative approach to mitigating social innovation and for students and seniors in our community. Martin?
to start off with, I'm just going to read our land acknowledgement. So Georgian College acknowledges that all campuses are situated at the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people. The Anishinaabe include the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. Georgian College is dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Thank you. And I guess over to Nicole.
Thanks, Martin. That's fantastic. So as you can see here today, we're going to be talking about HomeShare, as Susie mentioned. Sorry, I'm just sort of making sure that I have access on my 3 screens here. I'm sure everybody in this virtual world has got interesting configurations with their screens. So we're going to be speaking today about HomeShare. So HomeShare was an initiative between the City of Barrie, funded by United Way moving forward, and is an offshoot of something called Toronto HomeShare. We are looking at addressing 2 of the UN sustainability goals with this project. We're looking at goal number 11, which is sustainable communities, cities, and communities, and goal number 3, which is good health and well-being. So just a little bit of our agenda today. So obviously you met Susie and made a wonderful introduction. We had our land acknowledgement with Martin as well, so thank you. And so we're just going to move quickly now into a little bit of our HomeShare project. So we're going to talk a little bit about HomeShare and January 2021, which this program is going to launch. So excellent question. What is Barrie HomeShare? So Barrie HomeShare was an initiative that was sort of brought to us by the City of Barrie. It was the idea that in Toronto currently right now, there's a program where we were matching, or Toronto HomeShare was matching students who needed housing, affordable housing, with seniors who had spare rooms in their house and were looking for companionship and also this ability to have sort of some light chores. So students would be matched with seniors or individuals who were 55 and plus for affordable housing in exchange, or reduced rent in exchange for sort of like chores in the home. Obviously, circle back around to March and COVID, and this idea that placements for both our students and seniors now sort of became a complexity in COVID, as we know that COVID has made us shift and do different things. And the idea that we could now still be able to connect the goals of the project, which was to mitigate social isolation, bring our students closer in our community, potentially through a volunteer opportunity. So right now, Barrie HomeShare, what you're about to see today, is how a bunch of partners were able to come together to shift, to collaborate, communicating, and actually institute an innovation that was actually developed by students to co-create a new opportunity to still achieve the same deliverables, but maybe in a little bit different way. So currently right now, we did a needs assessment in our community for our 55 and plus population. And we asked them a question, what are some of the things right now that you could really use some help with in terms of your ability to stay in your homes longer, to increase your, to make your lives a bit easier, to recognize that as we get older, there are different things that we face, everything from mobility to communication to, social activities. And so these were the 4 themes that we identified in our 55 and plus community that they could use support and help with. And so the reasons why we did this is, so was there an opportunity where we could still involve our students and bring together a sense of connectivity to our students? So this idea that students could meet with their own senior neighbors and they could actually support, they could build their own resiliency, and they would have somebody that both populations could sort of create new and meaningful relationships. So these are the 4 themes that we have sort of identified. That idea of light chores around the home, where seniors could really use some help, and it can actually sort of support them in staying in their homes longer. It could also relieve some of the needs of caregivers. So a lot of times that we know as we get older, there's sort of a sandwich generation. And caregivers are, very concerned about aging parents, or maybe they don't have, their children don't live close. And so this idea of light chores, lawn mowing, dog walking, gardening, the concept of transportation. So being able to get around, whether it's to appointments, to doctor's appointments, or just groceries, or just sort of getting different places. Lack of recreational activities and socialization. So I think this is sort of a common theme as well that we're all facing in sort of this remote era, and dealing with technology. So as you can see, in sort of some of these, they start to really overlap into areas where also our students may or may not be feeling complexities as well. So what's really great about this is, so HomeShare has transformed from, first of all, being sort of a matching service or a matchmaking service for our students looking for affordable housing. And that will be coming back once we have realized that COVID has reduced the risk. But also to understand for our students that HomeShare is, it is also about building community connections, but it's also a larger conversation in the Georgian story about bringing together diverse programs that may or may not normally always work together, putting them together with a social issue, connecting them with partners, and saying, how might your learning opportunities sort of contribute to a solution? And so the solution that you're going to see today, which is a new sort of app and website, it was actually conceptualized by our social service worker students up at our Aurelia campus. They actually designed it originally to look at how do we get food resources to individuals who need it. Maybe they have mobility issues, and they actually designed or conceptualized and researched and designed an app, an online application where they could match make people with food resources. They could have volunteers get those resources to those individuals. We brought it down to the Barrie campus, and we worked with Rich Freeman in the Interactive Design and Media web program. And they actually took the vision that these social service worker students conceptualized, prototyped, and built it. And then we were able to go back to them and say, well, this is an amazing opportunity. I think we could actually use it, because really it's ultimately a matchmaking platform. And so what we're doing now today is the third stage of this conversation is the student volunteers and the 55 plus individuals who would like to participate in this HomeShare program. You are going to complete this story and be the launch and test phases. So we really wanted to let you know that this is actually a true collaboration between all of our parties, between our community partners, as well as our students across many diverse programs and campuses. So I'm going to toss this over now to Martin, and Martin is going to sort of have a little panel discussion with us. He's going to invite our guests, and we really want to talk about this idea of social isolation, so we can contextualize a little later. The demo of the HomeShare platform that we're about to show you was reconstructed for this purpose. Martin?
I'm just going to briefly do an introduction to our panel. So David Caldwell joining us from Barrie Carp membership. Lauren Wild, the coordinator from the Office of the Mayor in Barrie. We also have Kate Henry, mental health coordinator, mental health and well-being strategy at Georgian College. And last but not least, Ishan Sanchdeva, Georgian College Student Association Vice President of Changemaking Barrie Campus. So I'm going to go right to the question, the two questions that we have. So bear with me, it's the long preface, but here we go. So our question for today from my wonderful panel: from your perspective and based on your experience with seniors and our students within the Barrie community, 1, how might we impact social isolation in our community? And 2, what are the key areas that we need to address when it comes to social isolation amongst students and seniors? So maybe if we can leave that question up, and just whoever would like to answer on the panel. If not, I guess I'll gently maybe nudge some of you to go ahead first. And I know it's a lot to absorb in the questions, so let's take another 30 seconds, maybe just looking at them. And maybe if we can start with the first one: how might we impact social isolation in our community from your experiences that you've had? Ishan, do you want to start us off?
Well, definitely. Thanks for asking, Martin. I guess from a student perspective, and myself being a student and a student leader, I guess that impacting social isolation in the community is very important. And, it leads to numerous things happening in the community, like diversity, like, relating to people's mental health, their physical health, and how they, go to the work, how do they react to different things. So for me, social isolation can be challenged and can be represented by many things happening around. So there are numerous projects happening in the community. There are many social groups which are already active to boost the communication and let people be out of this. There's resources out by the government to consider social isolation like a real problem, so that it's not a stigma anymore and people needs to talk about social isolation, and so that people can act on it. It was a stigma before, and our main issue is that people don't talk about it, and that's where we want to come up and act up and be like, hey, it's okay to talk about social isolation, and it's a real thing to talk, right? So that people know it's there and they can go out, they can talk to new people, they can still have friends and have people who they can talk to. So it's, I guess, there are projects which college is working, government is working, and there are many things. So I guess those are the areas, how we can impact social isolation within our communities. And then we can have, multiple stakeholders, including that we could have students, as a part of our joint community. We could have, as a HomeShare project, we could have, seniors with 55 and plus age. And it's not just the seniors answering, there could be people in their, adult age as well, who are below 55 and, just working, because social isolation could be just, you're working and everybody's home alone, working from the laptop. So it could lead to social isolation at the same time, right? So there's numerous stakeholders included in this, and, projects and talking to people, having an inclusive workforce, all of these components might help to impact the social isolation within the community. That's what I feel.
Thank you, Shani, for bringing so many wonderful points, especially, there not being a stigma. The interaction, the focal point, the students and seniors. Maybe I'll go to Lauren next on the similar question, or if you choose to, you could go to question 2, whichever one you're more comfortable with, Lauren. But
no, certainly happy to join in the conversation, and thank you for letting us be a part of this. From our perspective, obviously, representing the mayor's office, we have a holistic view of the community as at the broad level, understanding that social isolation was an issue pre-COVID, now obviously exacerbated by the restrictions that we must adhere to in order to keep everyone safe. Looking at that, HomeShare was a great opportunity to make those community connections broader than our community centers, more personal opportunities, as well as unique opportunities to match the intergenerational in order to support the different needs, because the program in its pivot as well is able to make those connections, address social isolation in a very unique fashion, and do it in a piece that would feel comfortable both ways. So it's value added to both parties, as well as that broader community understanding. And it also helping not only the affordable housing, but in the original version, but now helping that those community connections last, and those lasting connections, because it will those connections will last past a program, past a volunteer opportunity, and build that greater, broader sense of community.
Thank you, Lauren. It's always such a joy to work with you. It's a great partnership. I really appreciate that. I don't see David on here when I'm scanning through the faces. So maybe I was thinking, actually, Jennifer, would you care to?
Hello, Martin.
Great experiences with it. Oh, are you there, David? Oh, okay,
yeah, I'm here, but I'm under Gregory Gonzalez.
Oh, you snuck in. Okay, David slash
computer, because my computer was.
I'll go to you then first, and then Jennifer right after. So, okay, great. So David, let's, how about if we ask maybe the second question? What are the key areas that we need to address when it comes to social isolation among students and seniors? If you can maybe give us a few thoughts on that, and then I'll automatically just pass it to Jennifer right after.
Well, I might mention that the organization that I am on, and I'm on the board, is reaching out to primarily seniors, but anybody over the age of 18 can be a member of CARP. And we try to get people that are more or less shut in many cases and not able to get out that regularly. They have to depend on a family member or a neighbor to get the groceries and get them to doctor's appointments and things like that. And I happen to have a student, an international student that is attending George, and have had now for about 5 years. I had international students. So I start to see some of the problems now with COVID-19 affecting them being basically confined to the house that they live in, with whether it's a senior or otherwise. So I try to get my student out periodically just for a drive in the country, and we don't stop anywhere. We just get out and I explain a few things about Canada. But I know there are many seniors in apartment buildings and so forth that don't have access to a lot of things other than bare necessities. And probably even if there was an exchange of phone numbers, and if they have computers, and many seniors don't have computers, so it would mean personal contact or telephone contact. They would not necessarily be able to put a face with the name. So it does present a problem. I don't know how we would coordinate such a thing, but I think it would be beneficial for both students and seniors, particularly if we had some way of collecting names and phone numbers, etc., and doing it through a reliable source, so that it doesn't get scammed somehow or other, which seems to be a problem. I get scam phone calls on a regular basis. I never respond to them, but it happens.
But thank you very much, David. And you've had some wonderful points there too. Before I forget, it's just such a joy to work with CARP. I'm very grateful for being here, and also for Gwen, the Barrie CARP lead, for connecting us as well. So thank you for that. Wonderful points. And that's exactly what we're going to try to do with where we're heading in terms of connecting the students and the seniors to have that interaction. Jennifer, I know you've been really patient, so I apologize because I know you have incredible input on all these questions, having talked to you a little way back. So I'll pass it over to you, and I'll give you a choice of whichever question, because I know I'm sure you can address either one.
Thanks so much, Martin. I'll be totally honest. I've been so immersed in what everybody's saying that I can't even remember specifically what the questions are, and they're not on the screen anymore. But I do want to say that I know just Ishan speaking about stigma, and just Lauren speaking about the City of Barrie's focus on reducing social isolation. I think what I'm happy to hear is that we are recognizing that social connection and our ability to have a sense of belonging in our community, this is mission critical for well-being. Without social connection, I mean, we've all seen the impacts of COVID as our social lives have just shrunk so much, necessarily, of course, but the impact is significant and real. And I think it's so important that we recognize that social connection is again, mission critical. What I also want to speak to is just the fact that many of our students, domestic and international, are in that transition age youth age group. So 18 to 25. Our brains are not fully developed until age 25. So when I think about brain development and toxic stress, we know that the one thing that will buffer toxic stress is connection, and meaningful, safe connection. So when we think about, let's say, an international student coming to Canada in the middle of a pandemic, our ability to ensure that that student is well connected in a really meaningful, close way is one of the things that will absolutely ensure that this experience is not only going to potentially impact their mental health negatively. In fact, it will buffer any additional stress from the pandemic, while ensuring that that student and the member of our community who's over the age of 55 are learning from each other. So it's just such a beautiful model. I'm just delighted to be here with you today.
And I just want to say, Jennifer, for not having looked at the questions, I think you've answered them very, very well. So that's even doubly impressive. I'm just going to maybe throw it out to the panel, whoever wants to speak, and have another maybe and I'm going to ask maybe for just a brief comment, so if you can keep your answers brief so we can move along. And then we'll move on from there. So maybe a summary kind of comment from everyone. Should we go to Ishan again, just for a quick?
Absolutely. I have a couple of comments I need to share, Martin, definitely. So some of the key areas which I think are very important from a student perspective, especially being from a COVID perspective, is that, the first part is there are many international students, and myself also being an international student in Barrie from last 2 years, I see that, living away from family and home, adds a lot of stress and disadvantage, right? So having that family part of having, elders around you plays a very huge role. And, you're always known that there are people you could go to and ask to, because you are already in a new community. So, those 55 plus age people are already been in the communities for several years, maybe before I was not even born, right? So, I would get confidence to being with them and live with them, right? The another part I wanted to talk was cultural exchange, because if say I'm an international student, I'm coming from a different country and living with people who have already been in this country for their all life. So there's definitely a cultural exchange happening around there. And, there's so many things, not just doing the work, but, that emotional connection that you develop with the people, that's what matters the most in this situation. That's what gonna carry away the, social isolation part away from the students and the seniors at the same time, benefiting both, as Lauren said. Another thing was, definitely from a student perspective, academics. And, if they're away from family, they're away alone, and not even alone, like even domestic students, if they are, working on things, studies can be a little, stressing sometimes. So, it could impact on how their academics are going on, or, how their part-time jobs are going around. So having someone when they're, and, being there with somebody who is, and not captivating yourself as socially isolated, and having seniors around you, that will definitely help students with their academics and how their part-time jobs are and how they treat everybody in their daily routine of their whatever they are doing, right? So there's a lot of components, and these were the three main components I wanted to really talk about. And I am hoping students specifically and seniors as well, both of them are going to be benefited by all of these things.
You always have your hand on the pulse when it comes to students, Ishan. So I very much appreciate that, and thanks for sharing that with us so much. I'm going to go to, no surprise, I'm just going to go on the same probably sequence. Over to you, Lauren.
Yeah, certainly. And just to piggyback on Sean's comment, it is definitely about that creation of the sense of belonging, that larger sense of community. We want to, support seniors staying in their home and aging in place. And we also want to support the students staying in our community. We want the students to feel that this is their community and they're a part of it. And having a resource that you can reach out to for that connection, and someone that you can rely on that wants to be a part of your life and wants you to be part of the community, and you can help each other in different ways. It's just a really great opportunity to make these connections in our community, and so important both for that senior side and the student side, definitely.
Thank you, Lauren. And I appreciate it too, because I know you also have your pulse very much with all the latest things going on in the city, and great perspective. So David, no surprise, I'm going to go to you again. If you have any quick comments, or please go ahead.
For me?
You've got
Hello?
it, David. Yes, go ahead, David.
I'm just thinking that I don't know how we would set something up so we can introduce students to seniors and vice versa, so that we could make this thing work, but it makes a lot of sense to me. I certainly find it interesting to have had half a dozen Georgian College students from different parts of the world, Ukraine, China, India, let's see, South America. I've had Colombia and Ecuador, and Mexico. So I've had people from many different parts of the world. Sometimes their English isn't as strong, and I try to help them with that. And some of the nuances with the English language, where two words mean different things, but sound exactly the same, may be spelled differently, may not be. So it's a fun experience, I've found, and the students I've had by and large have been quite happy to be here. I've had a couple that didn't adjust and they had to go somewhere else, and how they made out, I'm not sure, but you get the same thing with the Canadian students, I'm sure, that don't adjust well to leaving home. I myself, my first employer was with a chartered bank, and I was moved 300 miles from home on my first move. So I kind of experienced what it's like to be away from your family and friends. So I have maybe a little more appreciation of what that's like than a lot of people would have never had that experience. So
thank you, David. And definitely, I think what we're moving towards is the whole idea of this program is to take the innovations that students have done through the social work program and also the interactive media program, and to create something where actually it's going to make those matches really strong, and hopefully everyone will have a great time interacting and being very successful in addressing all the necessary needs. So that brings me over to last but definitely not least, again, Jennifer, I could read the questions for you, but I have a feeling I don't have just kind of
Nicole
great
put them
points.
in the chat, so we're all set.
Great.
Thank you, Nicole. And honestly, I don't even think I have anything to add after my co-panelists have responded just now. I think this is an incredible idea. I can't wait to see where it goes. It's just such a win-win. I'm delighted to be here and to watch it unfold.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank everyone on the panel again. So Isham, David, Lauren, Jennifer, if we can give them, whether you want to do a virtual clap or if you actually find the button on there and give them a clap, I definitely would encourage that because I'm very grateful for all your comments and they're so insightful. I really do mean that from my heart. So that leaves us moving on to the next part, which is Nicole.
Thanks, Martin. So Martin, I'm going to open up the floor too, since you've been working so closely on this project. What is some of the biggest things that you've been realizing as you've been starting to do this needs assessment and the research you've been doing, sort of working with students and seniors? What's sort of your biggest takeaway?
Well, I think that the biggest takeaway is not to make assumptions, but to make sure that the survey needs are strong. So you're actually looking at the interaction. So without going too far into details, but the surveys we did basically were done with seniors and also caregivers to see if the needs that are identified interact or intersect together. But things that we found were that seniors definitely would like to see some additional help with interactions, recreational interactions, even if they're virtual. Snow clearing was identified as well, clearing the lawn and other related tasks, just walking the dog, things that we can do actually with social distancing in place. One interesting thing I find too is that the caregivers that think that perhaps meal prep could be something that we could help with, which wasn't as strong with the seniors, but it is something that we can always look at deeper. But the key points I would say would be help with technology. Students could definitely help with that. Snow clearing, lawn mowing, and other light tasks such as gardening, and I think those would be some of our key points that we can definitely use this wonderful app that was developed by our interactive media web design students, and initially with the ideas from our social work students, we could move forward and have a huge impact in our community.
That's fantastic. So yeah, so Martin, you've alerted to what we're going to talk about next. So I've noticed some comments in the chats here. They're coming into me personally or just in the chat, some aha moments, recognizing that, you know, a lot of this concept of social isolation is not demographic specific. So students face it, seniors face it, heck, you know, everybody faces it. You know, is it a product of the way our systems are built or our society is designed? Is it a product of COVID? You know, the bottom line is, I think somebody sent to me personally this idea of going back to small communities and connecting communities. So without further ado, I'd like to present to you a solution that we'd like to offer based upon our research, built and researched by our social service worker students at the Aurelia campus, brought down to our Barrie campus, built by our interactive media and web design students. Basically a matchmaking website where caregivers can go on, seniors can go on, they can register, they can identify a need. So even if it is, and I think I saw this in the coffee, to bring a coffee, I need a coffee. And this idea that we have student volunteers where we can connect. So this is what it is. So I'm going to take you now to a site. I'm going to share it with you all. We do a little bit of a screen share. And I have to say, I'm getting screen share shock over the last few days with all these presentations that we're making. So just bear with me here and we'll share the screen. So, all right. Can everybody see my screen okay? We're good? All right, I'm just looking at my chat, which has now gone over to monitor 65, way over here. So the bottom line is, welcome to the Barrie HomeShare sharing app. As you can see right now, this is a prototype app. This is currently under construction. We will be launching this as a pilot program starting in January 2021. So we will be looking for 55 and plus individuals who would like to work with us. We are looking for student volunteers, and the session directly after that, we're going to be having a little recruitment session. I think you got a sneak peek with that in the chat with the mural. But first of all, we'd like to introduce. So this is a website that was actually built by our interactive design and media students, and it's quite simple. BarrieHomeShare.org. it sort of talks a little bit about what the program is, how it works. It talks about what we offer under HomeShare. So right now we actually have two offerings. One, we have what we call Home Help, which we're going to look at today, and Room Share. And obviously we talked about Room Share, and in the era of COVID, this is a little bit more complex right now. So we're just waiting to see how COVID translate, but we'll bring this program back online as soon as we can to create affordable housing. But the thing that we're going to talk about today is Home Help. And so this idea of Home Help under HomeShare works like this. It's quite simple. So you can join HomeShare by registering. You can fill out this form. It creates a HomeShare account. You can do this as a caregiver or a volunteer or a senior. As I said, again, this is a prototype, so we're still working on some of this. So you're actually seeing something that is just hot off the press. And so this idea that you can register, and there's a couple things here. So you can create a post. And this is actually, you create this post, and it's essentially just like a note board that you'd see maybe at the grocery store or a forum, or if you're in Reddit. It's this idea. It's a call to actually just create a request that you might need help with. Then we also have this idea that we have, once you're logged in as a student volunteer, it actually self-locates where that individual might be asking for the help for. So as our student volunteers, depending on where they are, they can actually self-locate. In the volunteer program with our students, we actually cover your mileage and a few other things. But this idea that you can actually work with our seniors in our community, you can build a rapport. So a senior can put a call out for that. You can also see it as what we have here. So we've got a couple other requests that we've just put in here. So as you can see, at this address, we need leaves raked. At this address, obviously at the Georgian campus, we need some snow removal. And at this address here, we're just testing to see if we work. So it's quite a simple app. It's easy to use. There's not a lot of features on it. And then if worst case scenario, you can contact us. We're also going to put our phone number, so it's a direct dial in, so that we're trying to make it as friendly as possible. It's really simple. And this is sort of where we're going with our HomeShare app. And again, this is built. So what we encourage you today is, if you have any questions or you'd like to learn a little bit more, there's two things we can do. You can actually join HomeShare. So we'll put this in the chat for you, barriehomeshare.org, and you can register. This will put you in our database, and we can contact you, and we can call you if you want, or we can email and just start to talk to you about the program and when we turn it on, as well as students who are interested in registering. And that is sort of where we're at. So just wanted to give you a little bit of demo. It's literally that simple. So Martin, I'm going to pass it back to you for any comments, and you can sort of round out a little bit about any more details around the program.
Sure, thank you, Nicole. And I guess if we can put the app linkage in the chat, that would be great too when we have a moment. But yeah, this is exactly, David, for instance, some of the things you were talking about, this is exactly why we're building this, so that we have, that all the interactions are as successful as possible. So we're building everything around that. But I want to take us to Q&A. So also want to give a chance to, if people have a specific question, if you can signal me, and we can take questions from our audience here too as well, and even our panelists again, if need be, because I'm sure this is a topic that has many layers that we can discuss.
And actually, Martin, Rich Freeman's actually on the call, who
perfect.
helped me out. So Rich, I know you're on the call here. Did you want to pipe up and talk a little bit more about sort of the app or anything? Is there anything that you wanted to say there, since you have been pivotal in sort of bringing this to fruition?
Sure. Thanks, Martin and Nicole. Hi, everybody. So my name's Rich. I'm a professor in the Computer Studies Department at Georgian College. So this app was actually developed sort of long-standing. The original app was developed as part of a capstone course for our interactive media students back actually in January of 2019. In our original prototype, we actually had a little bit of a different focus. But we had some great student projects, and it sort of sat on a shelf for a few years, for about a year and a half, until Martin and Nicole have come back to us and said, that project that we did, that we haven't been able to launch, we think it fits well with where HomeShare is going. So we've actually been able to re-engage a few of the original student developers on the project. They've graduated now and they're out working in industry, but we've been lucky enough to bring them back on board to sort of take that original vision and transfer it into the new HomeShare project. So they've done a great job, and it's great to have them back contributing on this community project.
And Rich, I'm so glad that you're here, and I can't applaud enough the work you did, and the students, especially. I think you're even your description, as impressive as was, I think it's modest in terms of what you've done and the time that you did it in. So again, my quick applause. I give that to you very heartily. I appreciate it, and we all do. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And yeah, Nicole, do we have any other surprise guests? Because I do
Nope.
want to. Okay.
No, I just wanted to make sure that Rich, he was on the call. So that's fantastic.
Oh no,
Thanks,
and that is perfect. Again, seriously, so thank you very much. And so just passing it on to the panel. So please don't be shy. I know it might be overwhelming looking at all the screens, but all your input is very valuable to us. So if you have a question that you actually want to vocalize, I do welcome it as well.
So yeah, so just just want to open up the question. Yes, the application is still under development. So we got that question in the chat. So just to give you a little bit of a timeline here. So the application will be launching in its full capacity in January 2021. So we are planning on launching this pilot program the week of January 18th. From now until then, we are looking for student volunteers who are interested. If you'd like to stay on the call at 2 o'clock, we will also have a volunteer recruitment question where we will go into a little bit deeper detail on some of the recruitment and volunteer aspects of this program. We are also looking for caregivers, and I also noticed in here from Donna, even neighbors or seniors themselves or 55 plus that would be interested in joining us in this pilot. So this is sort of what we're doing right now from basically today until January is we're looking to recruit interested individuals. So if you think you know somebody or if you're a student that would like to accrue volunteer hours, you can put these on your resume and start to build out this pilot from January to March. I do also want to note and thank the United Way that this project would not be possible without grant funding from the United Way of Simcoe Muskoka, as well as our partnerships with CARP and the City of Barrie. So if there are any questions, please put them in the chat, or if you'd like more detail, please sign up at that link there. We can throw that back in the chat for you. Yeah, and then please feel free to come off your mic or to type in the chat.
I do see some questions as well as while you were speaking. I noticed some questions that I can briefly address, and if people, just to get people going as well. Definitely huge thank yous. So that's great for United Way for the funding, the city, CARP, Rich and his students, our social work students as well. I can't say that enough. I could just repeating that. I see a question from Etsy. It says, I think exercise diet routine may have been overlooked and very important when talking about social isolation. So that actually is a point when I was referring to something that we would address in terms of the virtual interactions. There is that opportunity for events where we could do virtual exercise sessions. There could be opportunities for counseling in terms of helping with diet and then other routines. So that is something that there's very rich opportunity for, and we're exactly looking at that, SC. So thank you. That's a really, really good question as well. I can look at some other questions as well, but I just want to make sure I keep opening it up to the floor. So I know, please don't be shy, ask us a question. We really appreciate it. Same for the panelists or anyone else. Like, I've really appreciated all the comments and your inputs.
Also, the other thing too is that we're looking at other partners as well. Like, we know that there's a lot of things happening for seniors, either through 211 or other partnerships that are happening in programs. So the other opportunity for us as well too with this app, as we start to explore and see how the community responds to it, is to work with those partners as well, so that the partners can come on board and they can also identify needs in the community as well, so through the posts. And yes, I saw, and to back about the events, there actually is an event feature that we are just sort of finishing putting on the app. So not only will it be just about requesting, but you'll also be able to see events happening in the community that you can start to post as well. Again, January 2021. I know Rich's team was up pretty late trying to get everything sort of pulled together for us and rejigged after we sort of done that. So big kudos for making today. And we got a question here. Are students available 12 months of the year? So the goal is yes. So this is a pilot program right now. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to identify the kinks, see if it works. But the goal would be is to have this running 12 months of the year. So that is correct. Our students go to school 3 semesters, and we know that needs don't stop based upon seasons.
And that's one of those great things that lets us address both lawn mowing and snow clearing at potentially the same program.
Yes. Or if it was November, the same time.
Yes.
This year's November. It's great. So how many students do we have on the call that would be interested? And you can just throw it in the chat. Would you be interested if you had an opportunity to build your resume and your soft skills and these sort of things? How many students on the call would be interested in sort of connecting with seniors in our community? You know, to sort of build and develop some deeper relationships, particularly in COVID, keeping in mind that safety protocols, et cetera, would be in place.
And even if you're too shy to obviously speak out now, please
Amazing.
sign up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we definitely want to get you on there. We definitely will have all the protocols in place and all the different aspects.
Fantastic. And we would love to have you. So what's going to happen now, if you have signed up, if you haven't signed up, I'll get this email back again, as well as to our seniors that are on the call. So do we have any sort of seniors or community members that might be interested or have any questions about this? I think Adana put her hand up there.
Nancy.
Nancy, sorry.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can, Nancy.
Okay. This is just a fabulous project. I'm a widow and I have a house with 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and 2 kitchens, and I'm lonely. And it would be wonderful. And I've done a lot of volunteering with New Canadians, and man, this is just made for me, or I'm made for it. I mean, it is so exciting. My biggest concern is I don't want to have to make meals every day if somebody's living with me, but I'd buy the food if they wanted to. But I don't know whether that's a requirement. Is it to make meals every day?
We haven't looked at that yet. We have identified that in the needs assessment that the meal prep is a big concern. But I think that, Martin, sounds like an awesome opportunity to reach out to our hospitality students.
It does, and
there you go.
And also too, in the meantime, before we're doing the placing in the home, once we get into that, there are matching questionnaires you actually can very much specify what you'd like to see. So we do, it is a beautiful matchmaking where we do make sure that you're very much heard. It's very thorough questionnaires. We address all those issues. But in the meantime, in terms of more, if anything, we might be perhaps delivering a meal to you. So we might kind of ease that burden, maybe even more so than
or teach me how to do that fabulous Korean cooking or whatever, or Indian cooking, or yeah, I'm very excited about it.
And I thank you for that. I mean, you know, that's the biggest joy I always see too, is the excitement and the positive energy that everybody brings to this. There's just so many opportunities. And I think we're just headed for wonderful success. So thank you. And thank you for speaking, Nancy, because I know it's not easy sometimes just jumping into when you're seeing all these screens. So and great comments. So
right.
Yeah.
I just saw a message from Jennifer saying she wants to move in with me. Come on over, Jennifer.
It sounds fabulous.
I think Jennifer was speaking what we were all thinking.
I had to say it out loud.
It's amazing. Yeah, so these are the opportunities.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. This is amazing. So this is sort of what we're trying to do, like even in the short call, is connect our students and our seniors. And I see a ton of notes in the chat from our amazing students. Yeah, join us. We're going down this pilot road. It's meant to be simple. It's really meant to match needs with students and seniors, building connection. Yeah, if somebody can bring Nancy an amazing dish, that would be great, you know. We know that COVID has some complexities. We are addressing those as well in the program. We can't necessarily match in rooms right now. We can't match in the homes, maybe just because of COVID and some concerns. However, that doesn't stop us from meeting outside, dropping a coffee off on a porch, having a conversation, checking in. I actually have my adopted senior, if I can be truthful, and calling, I got soup, you want soup, and generally she won't let me leave without an apple or something. Like these sort of ideas that we can bring community together, and that's what this program's about. So I encourage you, if you are interested, please sign up. We would love to match you students with our seniors in our community and vice versa. I think it's an amazing opportunity all around. So is there anybody else, any other questions that we'd like to drop into the chat? We do have a session coming up at 2:00. So if those interested students would like to continue to stay, we're going to do a little bit of a workshop, or our seniors, we're going to do a little bit of a workshop on understanding a little bit deeper the impact of HomeShare, how it addresses human needs, basic human needs, and as well an opportunity to learn more about the volunteer program as well. So cool. So I'm going to put the chat in here again. So register at barriehomeshare.org, and yeah, we'll keep this open for any other questions. Susie, is there anything you'd like to say just to cap off as sort of watching and hovering over this project for?
No, except that Nancy made my day. I mean, the comments that Nancy just shared with us was the essence of why we want this program to start. So if we could bottle up Nancy, and Nancy could be the front page of our HomeShare product, I think that we're going to be very successful.
That's great.
I've always wanted to be a model, but I was too short, so.
I don't know. I think you make up for it in attitude. It's awesome. It's fantastic. Do we have any, Rich, is there anything you want to sign off with as we go forward, having your students helm, your alumni helm this?
We're just excited to see this get launched. We build these projects, students build them in class, and oftentimes they do great work, and those projects, they don't really go anywhere. So I think this one has a great opportunity to do a lot of good for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tanvi, I think we are recording this session. So Adam, is this session going to go up on our asynchronous? So is the link? Yeah. So just check back to, this will be up on our YouTube chat. Adam, can you pop our YouTube channel in the chat where all of our sessions are going to be recorded? That's amazing.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Sukriti. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm attending this session to complete my five online session to make up for a project that goes for a co-op. So I have one question that I have been asked to show up Changemaker Leader score and also a digital collaboration badge that is for Grizzly Go. So how do I show up that for my co-op?
Yeah, so we're going to be sending out an email about that very shortly, but Adam, who here is on the call, can help out. I'm going to send you an email in the chat so we can answer that question. The digital badges are being tracked. Don't worry. We had a little bit of a technical glitch in the back end. We're just fixing that right now. So we do all have your points and everything. So we know where you're at. Badges will be distributed post the 25th. So after Changemaker and Residency Week.
Oh, okay. I got your point. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But I'm going to yeah, no problem. So I'm also going to put an email in this chat. So if anybody does have any questions, Adam is checking, who's on the call here today. Adam is checking that. We're just kind of fixing a technical glitch because technology always works the way it's supposed to. Always. 100%.
Yes. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Have a nice day.
Thanks. Cool. So on that note, Martin, do you want to, how do you feel about wrapping it up and letting these amazing people?
Pretty good. I'm very appreciative again. My thanks again to the panel, to all our partners, the Office of the Mayor, United Way, CARP, all my panelists. I thank you. I thank you for all the questions. Rich, your team as well. You've outlined the perseverance. So yeah, that's all we're doing. We're all persevering and having new ideas and moving forward in a very positive way and trying to help each other very effectively.
Excellent.
So I just want to thank you all.
And just before we go, is Lauren, just recognizing from the city's perspective, is there anything you want to say to sort of end our session for us?
No, it's just wonderful, and it's a great opportunity for the city to continue to collaborate with the college, and we're always very pleased with the contributions that our local students are able to bring to the community, and having this as an additional opportunity to make those connections and strengthen our community is just wonderful.
It's great. And that's fantastic. So on that note, thanks, Lauren. We'll let you all go. So we'll hang out here for a few minutes, maybe 2 minutes. So if there's any other questions, you can hang back, we'll hang out. But other than that, you guys are free to enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thanks, everyone. It's great to see you all. Thanks to our panelists. It's good. Yes, you can stay on if you're doing the student recruitment session. Adam, have we got the same Zoom link?
Believe so. Let me double check, but I got.
You should have gotten in. Those who are staying on for the student recruitment session, you should have gotten an email from Eventbrite like 5 minutes ago with the actual link. So I'm going to actually end this session. So get the Eventbrite just in case, because we've got